Good evening, everyone. Welcome, and thank you for joining us tonight for the community meeting. My name is Candace David. I am an analyst here at the Los Angeles County Development Authority, also known as LACDA. Before we get started, I'd like to inform you of some housekeeping items. Do you need a translation? There will be a drop-down menu for Spanish and for Vietnamese languages, available when the event starts, just underneath the broadcasted picture. There will also be an ASL interpreter on screen during the entire event. If you have any questions, you can type those into the chat on the right-hand side of the screen throughout the meeting, and we will answer them at the end. By registering and joining us this evening, you are automatically entered into tonight's raffle drawings. The prizes we have available are gift cards to Target, Albertsons, and Vaughn's. Now let's start off the meeting with our first raffle. So we're going to be pulling raffle names at our secure sound booth offline, but we will be holding on to those names and we will announce all of the winners at the end of our presentation tonight. So stay tuned, keep engaged, keep answering those questions so you can keep earning opportunities to enter the raffle, and hopefully we'll call your name at the end of the meeting. Now, to give everyone a chance, if you have already won a prize, you would not be eligible to win another one. So there'll always be just one unique winner for each of the questions. Now for our agenda tonight, we have welcome and introduction, information about the action plan. We'll have some discussion, followed by next steps, and a request to fill out the community survey. For our speakers, I'd like to introduce Rita Reyes Acosta, who is my supervisor. We'll also hear from our executive director, Emilio Salas, Emily Codilla, and Satari Mariki, my colleagues and also analysts at LACDA. Now let's hear the message from Emilio.
Hello, I'm Emilio Salas, the Executive Director of the Los Angeles County Development Authority, also known as the LACDA. Now, I know you had a whole lot of other options on how to spend your time today, so I really want to thank you for taking the time to attend this community meeting to give us your perspective for LA County's upcoming 2024-2025 Annual Action Plan, and to let us know how you think this federal funding should be used in your community. Now, this upcoming year marks the 50th anniversary of the Community Development Block Grant, a federal program that has been creating viable communities, decent housing, and suitable living environments, including disaster response and recovery across the nation and throughout many neighborhoods in LA County. Now, I'd like to provide you some statistics regarding the services and programs that the LACDA provides, so you can see how CDBG supports the unincorporated areas of LA County and our 48 participating cities. During fiscal year 22-23, we were able to use 99.2% of CDBG dollars to benefit low and moderate income persons, which is a slight increase compared to the previous year percentage of 98.1%. In total, 179 small businesses were assisted, 314 public facilities and infrastructure improvements were completed. We served 1,201 youth, 5,739 seniors, and 33,447 individuals with special needs. Not to mention 430 jobs created and 2,892 housing units that were improved. Now, these aren't just a bunch of numbers, these are representations of the many lives that were touched and impacted by this funding. Now, in terms of this particular meeting, I want to highlight its importance and why we reach out to the community at large. It's important to hear your voice because this information helps to inform county leaders about what's important to you, and it guides their decision-making process to address priority needs and specific goals that will be included in the annual action plan, which is then submitted to the federal government. So we invite you to share your thoughts at the conclusion of the meeting through a community survey that will be available in multiple languages and is accessible on our website, yourvoicecounts.lacda.org. Now, should you have any questions about the survey, please ask an LACDA staff member who will be able to assist you. The contact information will be posted at the end of the meeting to reach staff via phone or email. By completing the survey, you're sharing with us what you feel are the most significant needs in your neighborhood. The feedback you provide will then be shared with the LA County Board of Supervisors to determine how federal funds will be allocated in your community. So make your voice count. So again, thank you so much for taking the time to participate in today's meeting and making your voice heard.
Good
Thank you,
evening.
Emilio. I'd like to introduce Rita Reyes Acosta once again.
Thank you, Candace. Good evening. We are glad to see you here tonight at our community meeting. I am Rita Reyes Acosta, and I work in the Community Development Division alongside our team that coordinated tonight's event. Many of you have made a huge effort to join us, and we appreciate having you here. Here's Emily to get us started with our presentation.
Good evening, everyone. Can you please answer our poll that's located to the right of your screen? It's under poll number 1. Do you know what Community Development Block Grant is? All right, we're getting some responses in. Great, thank you everyone. So about 25% of you answered yes, you know what CDBG is, and 75% of you answered no. So to those of you who don't know, the CDBG program makes federal funds available on an annual basis to states, cities, and counties to develop viable urban communities by providing decent housing and a suitable living environment, and by expanding economic opportunities, principally for low and moderate income persons. The program was designed to reinforce several important values and principles of community development in the following ways. CDBG's flexibility empowers people and communities to design and implement strategies tailored to their needs and priorities. CDBG's emphasis on consolidated planning expands and strengthens partnerships among all levels of government and the private sector in enhancing community development. CDBG's technical assistance activities and set aside for its recipients builds the capacity of these partners. Now, you may wonder where these grant dollars come from and how these funds are used to enhance community development. And here's Rita to provide you with that information.
Thank you, Emily. Each year, our agency prepares the action plan, which is an application to HUD for 3 types of grant funds: CDBG, Home Investment Partnerships Programs, known as HOME, and the Emergency Solutions Grant, which is referred to as ESG. The annual action plan is a requirement from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development to help states and local jurisdictions assess community needs and market conditions to guide investment. The annual action plan will list projects and programs that will be funded with the HUD grant funds and other monies to address community needs in the unincorporated areas of the county, plus 47 participating cities. As part of the preparation of the new annual action plan, it requires public input to identify housing and community development priorities for the 3 grant funds. The annual action plan is part of a larger document called the Consolidated Plan, and its purpose is to list community priority needs and specific goals to help enhance community development over a 5-year period. In essence, the action plan is like a chapter in the consolidated plan. This is the second annual action plan under the 5-year consolidated plan. Emily will continue with the next section of our presentation.
Thank you, Rita. Before we go on, I know that was a lot of information, so let's do another poll. And if you answer correctly, you'll be entered to have another chance at winning a prize at the end of today's meeting. So there's poll number 2. On the right, Rita talked about 3 programs our agency applies to HUD for. Which one of these is not a program that the LACD applies for? You have the options of home, CDBG, and PPP. So I'll give it a few seconds so you guys can answer the poll. All right. So 100% of you answered PPP, and that's correct. PPP is not something that LACD applies for. I previously mentioned about the CDBG program's flexibility to tailor the program to the community's own needs and priorities. While working on the 2023-2028 consolidated plan with the community, LA County decided to focus on these 4 priority needs, which are increasing affordable housing opportunities, reducing homelessness, strengthening an inclusive local economy, and having resilient and healthy communities. We're all aware how important the first 2 priority needs are, especially due to the ongoing housing crisis in the state of California. Now let's turn it back to Rita, who will briefly touch on CDBG, home, and ESG.
Thank you, Emily. For the CDBG program, we anticipate $21.3 million for next fiscal year, starting July 1st of 2024. The intent of the program is to support community development activities to build stronger and more resilient communities. The program requires that at least 70% of the program funds benefit low and moderate income persons. The program also allows up to 15% of the grant funds to provide public services. The CDBG program objectives are to benefit low and moderate income persons, eliminate slum and blight, and urgent need, such as addressing natural disasters. To provide you with an idea of the types of programs and projects that are funded with CDBG funds, here's a list of categories: housing preservation, real property improvements, public facilities, public services, economic development activities. For the home program, we anticipate $9.4 million for next fiscal year to support increased homeownership and affordable housing. The program requires at least 90% of the funds benefit low and very low income persons. The home program objectives also require to benefit low and very low income persons, increase home ownership and affordable housing. Unlike the CDBG program, it requires a local match of funds. To provide you with an idea of the types of program and projects that are funded with home funds, here's a list of categories: rental assistance, housing rehabilitation, site acquisition and preparation, construction of new housing for rent or home ownership, and home buyer assistance. For the ESG program, we anticipate $1.8 million to primarily assist those experiencing housing crisis or homelessness to quickly regain stability. The program requires at least 92% of the program funds to benefit low and very low income persons. The program's objectives are to improve the quality and number of emergency shelters, operate shelters and provide essential services, and prevent homelessness and rapid rehousing. The types of activities that can be funded are street outreach, emergency shelter, homelessness prevention services, rapid rehousing assistance, homeless management information database that tracks provisions of these services. And now Emily will continue with specific examples of projects and programs we fund.
Thanks, Rita. So I want to highlight some of the projects and programs that CDBG, Home, and ESG have funded. For CDBG, we have the Senior Empowerment Program, which assists seniors to remain healthy and active through participation in recreational, educational, and leisure activities. There's the Community Business Revitalization Program, which provides exterior improvements to businesses within low and moderate income areas. There's Youth Cleanup and Graffiti Deterrent, East Los Angeles Farmers Market, which is held on Saturdays at the Civic Center Plaza, and Handy Worker Program grants. These are for minor repairs up to $5,000. For Home, we have Affordable Housing Development. I was actually a project manager of 26.2 in Long Beach and My Angel Development in the North Hills area of Los Angeles. There's also the First Time Homebuyer Down Payment Assistance. For ESG, in partnership with LASA, the Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority, we have Rapid Rehousing, Case Management and Support Services, Emergency and Winter Shelter Operations, as well as Street Outreach. All right, it is time for another poll. Again, look at the poll options to your right, and this is poll number 3. From Emilio's speech that he gave earlier, 99.2% was spent last year to benefit whom? Your options are low and moderate income persons, businesses, and students. So I'll give it a few seconds for you guys to answer your poll. What do you guys think? Is it going to be low and moderate income persons, businesses, or students? Great. This is awesome. So 83% of you responded low and moderate income persons, which is the correct answer. Now, let's talk about cost burden. It's a topic that a lot of us can relate to. It's even more impactful to lower income households who are left with less money to cover non-housing expenses and to save for emergencies. Cost burden households are those who pay more than 30% of their income on housing costs, including rent or mortgage and utilities. Here's a graphic of what cost burden looks like for households with lower income versus households with higher income. As an example, let's go with 50,000 as the household with lower income on the left and 100,000 for households with a higher income on the right. Lower income would mean that out of the 50,000, 30% of that amount, which is 15,000, is going to rent versus 30,000 for those with a higher household income of 100,000. Now, let's take it a step further and do a housing affordability exercise. During the first year of the Consolidated Plan 2023 to 2024, Approximately 91,000 was the county's median annual household income. Let's break that down to 30% of 91,000 for housing, utilities, and related expenses, which comes out to approximately 27,000. 20% of that will go into transportation and groceries. So that's about 18,000. There's another 20%, another 18,000 going to credit card payments, savings, retirement. Finally, if we put 30% to things like cell phone bills, Netflix, going to the movies, gym memberships, and eating out, vacations, that's 27,000. If your housing cost is at 30% of the annual household income, that means that 27,000 broken down by 12 months, it's equivalent to about 2,300 a month. That's the maximum monthly amount you should be paying for housing and utilities. But the average rent for a one-bedroom in LA is $2,400 and $3,400 for a two-bedroom. Both of those amounts are well over 30% cap. Not every household makes 91,000. There are those who make less. So, if you are paying more than 30% of your annual household income on rent or mortgage, what happens? You end up forgoing other necessities like food, gas, transportation, savings, medical care. We want you to know that the county recognizes that this is an issue. That's why we offer these programs to assist those living in low to moderate income communities. All right, let's do a poll on something I recently talked about. If you are cost burdened, what does that mean? You're paying more than what percentage of your annual household income towards rent or mortgage and utilities? So if you look to the right, it's poll number 4, and your options are 20%, 25%, 30%, 50%, and 75%. So I will wait a few seconds and see what you guys think the answer is. The cost burden is a real issue in the county, definitely in California, as you all know. This is awesome. So about 75% of you got the answer correct. It is 30%. So if you are paying more than 30% of your annual household income towards your rent or mortgage, that means that you are cost burdened. It's time for some discussion so you can make your voice heard. What is one thing you learned from our presentation? And you can answer this question in the chat box to the right. What is one thing you learned from our presentation? I know for me, when I've talked to people about this, they talk about how they had no idea that more than 30% is what makes you cost burden when you're paying more than 30% of your annual household income. We're going to bring up Diane, and she's gonna share some of the comments that we have from our audience.
Hi, everyone. My name is Diane, and I am your chat box moderator. I don't yet see any responses here about what you learned, so I'm going to try to piggyback a little bit on what Emily shared and what we've talked about here and what we know from working with other communities. And, in addition to, recognizing how the cost burden for housing takes such a toll on cities, or I'm sorry, on households. I think people, by participating in this meeting, learn how the Community Development Block Grant and the Home Program and the Emergency Solutions Grants brings those activities to our income qualified residents and households for public services and housing services like residential rehab. We also, do the senior programs, after school activities, those things that make it easier for families to be able to participate in activities and to be able to then absorb it, and those provided by our agencies and by our cities, so that you can be included in and strengthening our communities and your experience there. So now I see with our little delay that we have things coming in. Other people are indicating that, of course, they need help today, that the rent burden for what they have, or the rent that they're paying, is well above, it's at $3,400. Others indicated that they learned that cost burden for housing of 30% would be more manageable in a budget. They need to make more money. Yes, absolutely. We all need that. How many people are considered low income under these guidelines? Overall understanding of the program, for which this one of our participants, David, has said that he is truly grateful. Matched funds needed to access more CDBG funds. Actually, we don't need matching funds for CDBG. We need that for the home funds, and they use that to develop affordable housing, and then to also offer the down payment assistance activities that we use that program on, residential rehab activity. But another person learned that the voucher amount for each size of the unit, I think that's more Section 8. It's a different funding source. So it's not something that we would be part of this discussion here. But let's kind of wrap this up and with this last one person sharing that they learned that the need for affordable housing is one of the most important issues. And that is 100% correct. I think most people here participated in providing their comments. It is recognizing the expense of living here in Los Angeles County, and how hard we all have to work to be able to afford to live here and sustain our other needs as well. So Emily, anybody have anything that they want to wrap up on, comments of what folks have learned from your presentation, or are we ready to go on to the next topic?
I think we are ready to go on. Thank you, Diane.
You're welcome.
So this is another question that you can respond to in the chat box. Now that we have discussed CDBG, home, and ESG programs and how these funding sources are limited, which of the 4 community needs do you think the county should focus on? And I'm going to repeat them again because I know we spoke about it a few minutes ago. So the 4 priority needs were increase affordable housing, reduce homelessness, strengthen an inclusive local community, and resilient and healthy communities. What do you guys think? What are your thoughts on the 4 priority needs? For me personally, it's kind of tied between reducing homelessness. I remember growing up and there wasn't a lot of, tents on the side of the freeway. And now that seems to be more prevalent. And I also understand the need for affordable housing because, yes, the rents in LA they're incredulous. They are so high. And that also is a reason why people are homeless. They can't afford to rent an apartment. They end up sleeping in their cars, in tents and RVs.
Okay, we're starting to have some answers come in, and we have One of our participants has indicated number 3, which is strengthening an inclusive local community. Increasing affordable housing. Didn't see any questions. Just to kind of reiterate on that, we talked about our 4 priority needs. So we're saying which ones of those are important to you or that you may have related to. Leslie says all of the above, as did Raquel. All are important. And then affordable housing, down payment assistance. A lot of people don't have cars, so transportation is an issue. All of the topics mentioned are equally important for different reasons, and everyone's situation is unique. More coming in on affordable housing. Victoria and David chimed in on that as well. So that looks like about the end of who's going to be sharing their opinions with us on that topic right now. So thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for your participation. And I'm going to turn it back to Rita.
Thank you, Emily. And I'm glad to see such participation in our chat from our audience. Remember these points as we'll ask you to recall a bit of this information towards the end. So now we have outlined the next steps of our planning process for these HUD grant funds. An important part of our community engagement is for you to complete our survey so your voice is heard. Our community survey was released earlier in October, and it's available until January 31st of 2024. We are providing ample time for the community to take the survey before it closes. Next, we tabulate the survey results in February and provide the data to each county board of supervisor to use as a guide for funding decisions. Each supervisor decides how to best use the grant funds within their district, specifically unincorporated areas of the county. The funding decisions take into account the grant regulations, available funding, community needs and the market conditions, as well as the survey results. By mid-April of 2024, we will have a draft action plan available for the public to review and provide comments. We will provide you with the link to access the draft action plan in our LACDA webpage. In June of 2024, we will request the Board of Supervisors to approve the draft action plan, which is the application to HUD. We will finalize the action plan and then submit to HUD before the end of June of 2024. We will now have Satari review where you can access the community survey.
Everyone, let's check out our website. In order to get to our website on your browser, please type yourvoicecounts.lacda.org. We have 4 key components on the homepage: the survey, resources, interactive data maps, and Find My District. We also want to hear from you about our 4 goals: affordable housing, homelessness, inclusive local community, resilient and healthy community. Let's check the survey page. On this page, we have our survey in 6 different languages. You can click on these links to fill out the survey online, or you can download the PDF version, print, fill it out, and mail it back to us. Let's take a look at the resources page. The resources link leads you to information about LACDA and LA County departments and LACDA partners agencies. Let's take a look at the first link here on the top: current activities by district. Here you can check out current county activities that have been funded in your district. Let's go back to the website. Interactive data maps. On this page, we have a static map along with different interactive data maps in different subjects, which you can click on each, read the description, scroll over the map, and get the information that you need. Let's take a look at the map related to the cost burden renters, a topic that Emily discussed earlier. In this map, the darker shades indicate areas that are most cost burdened between 2017 and 2021, which is the data from the last census that was done. Let's go to Find My District. On this page, we have a map with a search box here, which you can type in your address and find out which district you're located at. As an example, let's add our LACDA address. As you can see, our office is located at First District and is not in the Los Angeles Urban County. Let's go to the home page. Please encourage your family and friends to visit our website, take the survey, and make their voice heard. Thank you.
Thank you, Satari. This webpage is a great resource we develop for the community. So please come back and take a look at these resources and take advantage of the information. This brings us to the conclusion of our presentation, and we are available for questions from our audience. Please type in your questions in the chat, and our chat moderator, Diane, will read your questions. While we wait for your questions, we encourage you to take the community survey now. You have the option to fill out the survey using your smartphone by scanning the QR code or using a laptop. And now let's turn it to Diane to see what we have in our chat.
Hello again, everyone. Well, at this point, we don't have any questions, so let's give this a little bit more time. I do know that there was so much information that was presented, and we hope that there is a lot of takeaway value in that for you, and that you would do us the honor of participating in providing the response to the survey. There is a question here. Can you post the survey in the chat? I don't know the answer to that. I know that you showed the QR code up there. Is there a way that we would be able to put that link into the chat box?
Yes, I can put the link in the chat box, Diane, and also that website right there has, as Atari showed earlier, it has a link that says survey at the top. So once you click that link, it shows you how to access the survey in various languages. And also they can access the PDF versions of the surveys, which they can print and mail out.
Great. Araceli says thanks. And she got it. All right. Are there any other questions from our participants about what we presented here tonight? Well, then it doesn't look like anything else is coming in, so let's turn it over to the group for our closeout.
It's time for our final raffle drawing. Here's one last chance to add your name to win. What is the name of the website to access the community survey? Options: hearyourvoice.lacda.org, yourvoicecounts.lacda.org, or countyourvoicelacda.org. We'll take a minute to see if you have an opportunity opportunity to enter the correct answer. We're excited to see how much you've taken away from our presentation. Okay, so we'll turn this over to Candace to conclude our meeting.
Thank you, Rita. Thank you, everyone, for participating tonight. Thank you for joining us in this important discussion and for definitely making your voice heard through your questions and your answers of our poll questions and entering into the raffles. So we're excited now to let you know who won. I'm going to read off all of the names of the winners. We have 5 of them. So I just want to say congratulations to all of you. And we'll be in contact to let you know how you can get your prize through the chat. But again, thank you to everyone for joining us tonight and for participating. So, all right. So the first raffle winner is Emmeline Beard. All right, congratulations. Okay, our next winner is Gabrielle Ill. Congratulations, Gabrielle. Okay, winner number 3, Leslie Rowe. All right, we're getting down to the last 2. Winner number 4, Giovanna Moore. All right, and our final winner tonight is Dominic Santos. All right, everyone. Thank you again to our staff for presenting. Thank you to the production team. And most of all, thanks to all of you for joining us tonight and participating in this community meeting. Have a good evening, everyone.